Okay, here I am again. I have this thought I've been meditating on all day. And it has to do with relationships. And I think the thought in a sentence I wrote down that our relationship should not be defined by expectations, but rather organic outcomes. And this is what I mean. I think a lot of times I know me. If a person has a certain title or position in your life, you're looking at them and you're saying, you're this, so you're supposed to do or be that, right? Like, this equals this who you are or what position you hold equals whatever outcome that we have. And I've learned over and over again that a lot of my relationships went south or have completely either been destroyed or just non-existent because I was literally creating expectations to go with the title. It's almost like a job description for a title in the workplace or whatever. Like, this is what you are. This is what we expect of you. And I think relationally, it works professionally, but it doesn't work relationally. Only because you cannot make a person be something that they're not. I didn't say do. I said you cannot make them be someone that they are not. And I think a lot of our disappointments are attached to what we are expecting the individual to be. And so the second part of that statement of, I believe they're defined by organic outcomes. What I've learned is, I have to catch up to the fact that someone was my friend. I'm not looking at what they're doing because they're my friend. I'm looking at what they're doing and saying, that's what friends do, right? So my relationship with the individual is now defined off the outcome. So it's like, it's not you're my friend, so do this. It's you did this, which makes you my friend. And I find it so liberating from the standpoint of I don't have to be all bent out of shape trying to force somebody to produce something that they're not, and vice versa, right? Somebody might have expectations of me because they feel like I hold a certain position in their life. But is it really who I am? Is it really what I can produce? And am I really capable of doing what you expect me to do? That's to be found out. I think that the relationship should be defined by the outcome. So it's a few individuals in my life that I rarely even talk to and rarely even see. But when I do the assessment of the way we engage, the way we've, engaged in the past and things like that, like I'm like, that's my friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not an everyday buddy. May not talk to him all the time, right? Like, who made those rules anyway, right? I recognize that my most consistent relationships, most fruitful relationships are the ones that I'm not around and talking to all day, every day. So to me, it's a growing pain because I've had so many arguments and fights and fallouts over what I'm expecting. There was no agreement, right? Like, we don't sign friend agreements before we become friends. Like, all right, if you're going to be my friend or we're going to be friends, then we need to do X, Y, and Z. It's like, no. Like, we didn't sign an agreement. And so we end up in these battles with one another trying to force somebody to be and do something that they're not, or that they're incapable of. And it's like, and vice versa, right? Like, Chantel, you're my friend, so you need to do X, Y, and Z. But what if I'm not like that, right? What if I don't produce that? Like, I'm not the pillow talker. That's not me, right? So if somebody see me as their friend and they're expecting me, you need to pillow talk with me. We need to go hang out once a month. Like, they got all these rules. And I don't function like that, right? Or that's not the way my life is set up. Now they're set up to be disappointed. So I could talk about that forever and ever and ever because of all the experiences I had. But I just want to share that thought. Like, maybe if we define relationships off the outcome first and not try to predetermine an individual's position in our lives. I think if we just work at building organic relationships with people, we don't have to worry about trying to put a title and all that stuff, because that's where all the expectations come from. So where did this stem from? It just stems from expectations. Like, I think about, like, if I'm disappointed, like I was mad earlier or frustrated earlier about a situation, but I'm like, was there a rule? Like, did they say they was gonna do this? Like, you are disappointed about something that they probably don't even know is a thing, or they probably don't even know that that's what you're expecting, or there's no written rule, there's no promise there that says they were going to do X, Y, and Z. So why are you disappointed? Why are you disappointed? Because you have an expectation of something? An expectation is not an agreement. Just because you expect it or they expect it does not mean it was an agreement. Now, when it's an agreement, those are two different things. Meet here at Applebee's at 7 o'clock. Yeah, we meeting at 7 o'clock. And then the person don't show up, or they show up an hour or two later. Now you have reference for a disappointment, because you literally disappointed what we has appointed. Like, we said 7 o'clock. Why aren't we meeting at 7 o'clock? We both agree. It's not the same. If you was just expecting, you got off work early and you expected them to be there at 6:30 because you were off early. It's like, but there was no agreement. Therefore, your disappointment is null and void. It's so much depth to what I'm saying, but it's like, I believe our relationships will begin to be healed when we actually properly calculate what the situation really is, as opposed to what we want it to be. And individuals change and we change, so our expectations change. I may not have cared about this 10 years ago, but today I do. Or the individual may have gone through some type of life situations. They may have got illness. They may have lost a couple members. They may not be in the same financial situation. They may not, it's just so many things that can change the conditions of the relationship. And I think if we just stay open to life, just on a daily basis, and the changes and the shifts that come with life, I think we would do better relationally. We'd do better relationally, and we have more peace in our heart because we're not constructing or conjuring up this long list of items that somebody's supposed to complete or somebody is supposed to fulfill. Yeah. Relationships don't work the same as, employment, right? You're getting paid to do this. You've been credentialed to do this. This is the expectation out of that. We cannot do our friendships the same way, only because we're humans, and the way we're created, each and every one of us were made complex in a complex way. It's not just me that's complex. Everybody was made uniquely. It's not always easily understood, and I just think we don't give each other enough room because we're really not in tune with ourselves that much. And we try to force people to be what they may not be, or do what they may not even be capable of doing. And it's like, come on now, how can the love of God be in your heart for real if you discover that that's what you're doing and you choose not to do nothing about it? It may not change overnight, but it should at least challenge the mentality of our hearts, right? I'm gonna stop right there. I hope this helps somebody. Just to consider. I'm not saying what I'm saying is law, right? I am just sharing my experience and just some different perspectives that I've discovered. So yeah, that's that. Praise the Lord.